right, guys, back for another episode here of Night Chats. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Trump assassination, and I want to get into a little bit about some of the incidences that took place on that day in Pennsylvania. None more important than who actually fired the shots at Donald Trump. I think in the video you're about to watch, I think it's going to be very evident that what we've been told and what the media has put out there, once again, as usual, is lies. Is full of lies. As you can see in the picture here that I have up, it's so blatantly obvious that the name and the identity of the person that was identified as the shooter was not true. It was false. The real shooter was Mr. Maxwell Urich. You look at the photos here. The photos, picture says 1,000 words. I think that's definitely the case here. And in the video you're going to watch, as I said, I think it, definitely going to break down some of the happenings on that day that led up to the shot at Donald Trump. So I hope you like it. I hope it's informative. And you guys, again, are enjoying your stop by here and viewing my episodes. I hope you guys are getting something from them. So anyway, I'm gonna get the video started here. As always, people, please hit the like and the subscribe. Let's get those subscriptions up. Let's get those likes up. Something that I've enjoyed doing, and I want to continue to be able to do for you guys. So any help, any support is definitely very much appreciated. So here we go, guys. Let's get into the video.
An attempt was made on Donald Trump's life on July 13th. At the time, I made a video covering everything that happened that day, and I will leave a link in the description down below. It's been a little over a month, and some new shocking facts have been uncovered. The official story from the FBI investigation is that Thomas Crooks was a lone gunman. He arrived at the rally, evaded security, climbed onto the roof of the AGR building, he shot at Trump, and he was quickly killed in return fire. This story of the lone gunman was being pushed by law enforcement and the media the same day as the shooting, which I find strange. Wouldn't you want to do an investigation before determining that no one else was involved? Why would you jump to a conclusion so quickly? If we consider the possibilities, they generally fall into three main categories: lone gunman, Thomas Crooks acted alone; inside help, Thomas Crooks had help from someone inside the government; or multiple shooters, others besides Thomas Crooks fired on Donald Trump. There have been a number of hearings before Congress. Here is Director Cheadle testifying about the lone gunman.
And are you confident that the person in question, Mr. Crooks, was the only person firing that day against the president or the crowd? Is he the only one? I'm not asking you yet if he acted alone, but is he the only one? Or can you say that with certainty to the American people?
That is the information I have at this time, yes.
Okay. Does it appear he acted alone?
That's the information we have at this time.
But when Cheadle was pushed to confirm whether it was a lone gunman, she refused.
Was Mr. Crooks acting alone?
Again, I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation.
Was he just a lone gunman?
I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation for motive.
Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, also testified and pushed the lone gunman theory.
And as I've said before, and hopefully this gets at your question, we have not identified any accomplices, co-conspirators, or anything along those lines.
So it's the FBI's position right now that he still acted independently.
Again, we're still, I know it seems like a lifetime since July 13th, but we're still early stages, but we have not seen anything so far that would suggest to us that he acted with others.
When you look at the possibilities, you can see why it would be attractive for law enforcement to push the lone gunman theory, because it allows them to close the case. They can say the suspect was killed. There are no loose ends. They don't have to question anyone's loyalty. It's really horrible if one of the other two theories are true. That not only means there's a traitor in our own government, It means that someone is still on the loose. Someone who already attempted to kill Trump, and they could try again. So it makes sense why law enforcement keeps trying to convince everyone of the lone gunman theory. But that doesn't make us safer. We need to determine the truth. What I want to do in this video is highlight some facts that contradict the lone gunman theory. The white van. The day of the attack, the media covered that there was a white van parked nearby filled with explosives. Here's the police searching the van. Here's the van with Arizona license plates being towed away by the police. We've never heard about this van again.
With the neighbor who shot this video of a suspicious van being towed away from the scene last night.
How many cops are we talking about that were out there surrounding this van? And was there a license plate on the back of that van?
There's probably 5 to 10 cars out there, and there was an Arizona plate on the van. And there was probably 15 cops altogether, all outside of the van.
This van raises a number of questions. It's been widely reported that the shooter, Thomas Crooks, drove a Hyundai Sonata to the rally. There are also photos of Thomas Crooks' bicycle parked near the AGR building. So let me see if I understand this. Thomas Crooks decided to shoot Donald Trump. So he drove to the rally in a van, a Hyundai Sonata, and then rode his bike. Am I the only person who finds this impossible to believe? If Thomas Crooks drove the Hyundai Sonata, did he put his bike inside the car? I don't think that's physically possible. It seems more likely that Thomas Crooks was not working alone, and all these vehicles were possibly driven by other accomplices. I don't know if anyone remembers this. The day of the shooting, Thomas Crooks was not the first person the media announced as the shooter. Do you remember that? It was very strange. The news first announced that the shooter was someone named Maxwell Urich. Something like 10 news outlets announced it was Maxwell Urich. Then, everyone in the news switched to saying, no, we made a mistake. The shooter is Thomas Crooks. Why did they do that? Let me explain to you what happened, because I think this is important. They named Maxwell Urich because the license plate on the white van are registered to Maxwell Urich. They got his name first. Then we found out later that the rifle was registered to Thomas Crooks' father, and so the media all changed their story. But since the shooting, Maxwell Urich has disappeared. No one has seen or heard from him. Where is Maxwell Urich? His social media is wiped. His family has filed a missing person report in Arizona. I can't confirm very much information about Maxwell Urich, but let me just share what little information has been reported on him. The white van is tied to a company in Mesa, Arizona called Urich Armory. This company manufactures explosives and has a history of allegedly selling goods to guerrilla groups in Peru and Colombia with the help of the CIA. Urich has been allegedly involved in Antifa protests in Seattle, Pittsburgh, Washington, D.C., Portland, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Boston. Why isn't anyone in the news looking into this guy? What is also odd is the dead body on the roof looks more like Maxwell Urich than it does Thomas Crooks. Just at first glance, you can see a scar on the dead body's ear where he previously had gauges in his ear that were sewn up. Maxwell Urich had gauges in his ear, whereas Thomas Crooks did not. I would like to know why the FBI has given no explanation as to why the dead body had scars for gauges in his ear while Thomas Crooks had no gauges in his ear. Why haven't they explained this? There are also images that look like the dead body has a tattoo on his arm. Maxwell Urich had a tattoo on his arm, whereas Thomas Crooks did not have a tattoo. Some people will say, well, that's just dirt on his arm. I'm sorry, but you don't get dirt on the inside of your elbow. Where did the dirt come from? Was he down on the ground rolling in the dirt before he got up on the roof and shot at Trump? That doesn't make any sense. Now let me be clear. Law enforcement has officially identified the dead body as Thomas Crooks. But if that's the case, how do you explain the white van from Arizona full of explosives? How did a van from Arizona get to Pennsylvania? Why isn't anyone asking any questions? It certainly makes me question the lone gunman theory. Let me just play for you again what Christopher Wray said to Congress.
But we have not seen anything so far that would suggest to us that he acted with others.
He said they have not seen anything that suggests he acted with others. I think he's lying to Congress. How can he say there is no evidence of anyone else involved? When he said this, he knew about the white van, Maxwell Yurk's connections with Antifa, and the ties to the explosives company in Arizona. The cremated body. A shocking development happened this last week when it was discovered that the body of Matthew Crooks is gone. Representative Clay Higgins has been doing his own investigation into the shooting. When he went to go inspect the corpse, he was told, "What do you mean you want to see the corpse? The corpse is gone." The FBI sent the body to be cremated only 10 days after the shooting. The FBI are the only people who were able to examine the body. Since the body is now cremated, there's no way to verify if the body was in fact Thomas Crooks or Maxwell Yurk, other than take the FBI's word for it. This looks like the FBI released the body for cremation as a way to destroy evidence and cover up any following investigation. The FBI has responded and said that is not the case. They claim they followed every procedure by the book. That's a little ridiculous. Why didn't they tell anyone before destroying the body? Nobody else knew the body had been released for cremation, including the county